All right, guys, here's another BG perspective. As always, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we upload.
Get ready with me as I tell you about the time my dad took $500,000 out of my trust fund because he was mad at me. So as most of you know, me and all my siblings, we have $10 million in our trust each. And we all have access to our trust whenever we want. But a lot of times we'll just put things on my dad's credit card because it's the easiest thing to do. And so as a birthday gift to myself, I went and just got a Chanel bag, but of course I used my dad's card. And here's the bag. I just got the classic flap that I've been wanting. But he was so mad I did that, and I'm pretty sure it's because I just quit my job. He made me get a job because I didn't finish school like my siblings. I hated college, but I was only getting paid minimum wage with tips, and so I just felt like it wasn't worth it. I think he's also mad because he booked a family trip to the Bahamas, but he told us we were gonna go to Greece, so he's just mad that I don't want to spend family time with everyone, but don't say we're gonna go to Greece and then switch to the Bahamas. He basically transferred $500,000 out of my trust just to annoy me. He just wanted to do it as some sick punishment, but usually he'll give it back if I do something like chores. Normally he just has me take the trash out or something, or if he's really mad he just won't let me use his card for a week. But in the end I still have $9 million in my trust, so I'm sure I'll be okay. Bye.
Guess which race has the highest percentage of people on Section 8?
Go watch that creator's video for full context. I'm just going to let you know, for full disclaimer, I'm only speaking on my experience working in tax credit. And she is absolutely right, because let me tell you something. They know how to work the system. They know how to work the system in their favor. I'm going to tell you, they put their stuff in a trust. If you do not have a trust, I suggest you get a trust. Especially out here in California, I worked in probate. And if you don't have your stuff in a trust, your stuff will be held up in probate for 5 years. So what they do is they get a trust, they put their assets in a trust, then they can go apply for social services, and they can apply for Section 8 and get Section 8. Just like that, because those assets, those said assets, are not in their name. Let me tell you, I worked on several properties, the tax credit, and you know what? I had one resident. She was paying $87 a month in rent. She drove a Benz, and she had a whole apartment full of Z Gallery furniture. That's high-end furniture, and she was white. She knew how to work that system to get whatever she wanted. Had another resident. She paid $67 a month in rent, again on Section 8. She knew how to work the system too. I had residents that was on this tax credit property with Section 8. I think I had at least like 50 residents. I would say their ranges from paying rent off of Section 8 was between, like I said, $67 all the way up to the max was $300. Because Section 8, what they do is they pay above the market rent on an apartment when you get it. And a lot of those people who get those vouchers, they never leave. I believe that was created for you to, get hand up. So when you do get stable and you're making your own money, that was supposed to be reserved for somebody else that can use it too when they're having a hard time. But no, they abuse the system. And I'm not saying all abuse the system, but a lot abuse the system. And I literally, when new housing comes in, especially out here where I live, they're camping out 2-3 days just to get on that list because they can keep more money in their pocket. But this is how they work the system. Get you a trust. Put your assets in that trust, and you can get all the benefits you want to as well. They need to do something about that because people who really need it can't get it.
Today we're going to talk about how to get approved for an IUL. There's 3 things the company is going to check before you are approved. 1, your medical background. 2, your driving record. And 3, your criminal background history. It has nothing to do with like a credit check. Because remember, the IUL is still life insurance. So the company is looking at the risk they're taking on to cover you. Because the IUL also comes with a lot of perks. First one being protection. If anything, God forbids, to happen to you, your family's going to be protected. Protected from taxation because the money growing within your IUL, within the index, stocks go up, money goes up, stocks go down. You don't participate in the loss. That is growing tax-free. And when you go to withdraw in the future for, let's say, your retirement, you can withdraw that tax-free as well. Protected from market risk because you are no longer going to participate in the variable, meaning you're no longer going to participate when stocks go down. You can use the IUL as an emergency fund. Your car needs some fixing and it costs $1,000. Now you can loan to yourself your cash value that's in your IUL. As long as the IUL is structured correctly, you can utilize the IUL for your retirement, only participating when stocks go up and not when they go down. You can also use the IUL for college funds, but I like to say choice funds because it doesn't limit the parent if the child decides not to go to college and maybe they want to run a business or become an artist, the parent can still support them. And last but not least, you can use the IUL for savings. If you want to learn your IUL options, please click the link in my bio to set up an appointment.
Now, what I'm going to say is probably going to put a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people. And if you don't want to stay here and listen to it, that's on you. But if you do stay here and listen to it, I'm about to give you a whole lot of game on how rich people constantly get rich and how I started to implement these practices in my own life, and it changed my life entirely. Now, as it relates to bankruptcy, I will only file bankruptcy if I have a considerable amount of new debt but have negative cash flow. I will not consider filing bankruptcy if I have a considerable amount of old debt. And the reason is because a lot of that old debt can be challenged and you can get a lot of that stuff thrown out of your credit profile. You can do a lot of disputes that will settle those debts. That does not necessarily mean that you have to file bankruptcy because majority of it is not even validated. And so you can get yourself out of it. Now, if you have a lot of new debt, a lot of new obligations, you're facing foreclosures, evictions, repossessions, and things like that, and you don't have the cash flow coming in and you know that you're about to lose all of your stuff, you're about to have a considerable amount of money problems, then I would suggest that you probably do your research or go hire a bankruptcy attorney and have them tell you what your options are and which type of bankruptcy you need to file, because there are multiple types. Now, as it relates to how the rich people do it, that's really what this video is about. The reason that rich people are able to consistently rinse and repeat their processes and live their lives as if they were never affected ever at all is because they run their lives like businesses, and not in a figurative aspect, but in a literal aspect. If you know anything about a business, then you know that once you structure your life as a business, like literally, like go and register your life as a business. Well, how do you do that? Well, for many people, they register their names as LLCs. They put everything in a trust and register the trust under a business or vice versa. And so everything that they get, every asset that they have, every property that they have, every car that they drive, anything and everything is probably inside of another entity's name or ownership. The reason that people do this is because in the event where things happen, because things happen and life happens to all of us, where you cannot afford those debts, you cannot afford to do all those things, you can file bankruptcy under a specific entity and then still have your life like to yourself. So instead of me filing bankruptcy under my name, my credit, my stuff, I'm filing bankruptcy under my business. I'm filing bankruptcy under an entity which owns all of these things that I have. The reason that rich people are able to consistently do this process is because they can bankrupt an LLC and then turn right around and go and open a brand new one. It's the thing that you see a lot of celebrities doing, including Donald Trump. It's why he's able to bankrupt businesses time and time and time again, and then go out and start new ventures and get more money. Because, I mean, quite frankly, he's not done anything to put himself in jeopardy. He has put a business in jeopardy. Now, I know it looks funny and crazy when people know that you're attached to multiple different ventures that always consistently fail, but that's why you do things to protect yourself from the entity. So you separate you from the entity, and the only way to do that is through trust. So I know I've said a mouthful here, but if you're paying attention and reading between the lines, then you would literally have everything and own nothing. And you probably see sometimes where wealthy people appear to have it all, but they're also still on public assistance and welfare, and they're on SNAP and getting all of these food stamps and things. And let me tell you how they do it. Well, you do know that in order for you to have all of these things that you qualify for as far as government assistance and things like that, I'm literally about to tell y'all how people beat the system. So majority of these people would put a lot of what they own and a lot of how they make money into corporations and into businesses. But then personally, that means that I don't have any income. Personally, that means that I don't have any assets. I don't have any ownership. I don't have any cars. I don't drive. I don't have any houses that I own. I don't have any payroll that I'm under, because all of that stuff is funneling through a business. So what does that mean for me? That means that on paper, I'm broke. On paper, I don't really have any income, and I qualify for all of these programs that are out here for the low income people, poverty, people who are in poverty, people who are disadvantaged or whatever. So that's how I'm able to stay in a multi-million-dollar house and still qualify for food stamps. It happens every single day, and this is why I am so in favor of, in support of teaching people about the system, because you see a lot of Americans especially get online, they complain about they don't have enough money, they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have this, they don't have that. But in reality, it's like the system was really written for you to use it, and there's a lot of gray areas that you can actually participate in that would allow you to live a very stress-free and very easy life. The problem is people don't know their laws. They're not knowledgeable enough to understand what it is that is available to them, and they really don't understand how laws are written not to go against you, but to help you formulate things. The rich people know this, so this is why they consistently win. So when you say in this comment, I hear the rich do it often, honey, you don't even, this is the bottom basic line of what the rich do often. You don't even understand and begin to know exactly what they really get into.
So how do you own nothing but control everything? I'm going to draw that out for you. And when I say draw, I'm just going to point to spaces in the air and you can picture and imagine what I'm saying. So wealthy families, they'll set up a family trust, right? Now this family trust is usually going to own several anonymous corporations, right? These anonymous corporations are basically like, you can't figure out who owns them, but if you could, they're owned by a trust. This is what holds the assets, right? So you might have, real estate, rental properties, you might have a business, you might have whatever, and these are owned by these LLCs. The LLCs are anonymous, they're owned by the trust. The trust is a private document, it's not federally registered, nobody can find out who that is by going online. And so then on top of that, the trust is also usually owned by an anonymous corporation. So you've got these layers of protection, and what that does is it gives you anonymity, it gives you protection, keeps you safe from taxes, lawsuits, liabilities. And so wealthy families will implement this exact diagram in order to protect their wealth.
Hey Daddy, what you working on?
And I am working on reading over our trust.
A real trust?
A real trust, like a trust, put the house, the real estate, the land, cars, burial information, insurance policies. Somebody want to sue me? I don't own nothing. The trust owns it. Everything in the trust. Everybody's name is in here, whether what we're going to do with it, who's going to get something, who not going to get nothing. Everybody is in here.
So what is it? Let me see it.
Yeah, so this is the trust. It's a revocable trust. It's a revocable trust. And it has all this information, our mortgage information, what do you call it?
Investments too.
Investment properties. Everything is in this trust. So when you get married, see your husband right there, his soon-to-be husband.
My boo.
When y'all get married, and boo, you get something in when you get married. Now y'all gonna have y'all own. Boo gonna get his later. He gonna get his from the mud. But you gonna have a head start. But his children now, they're gonna be taken care of. His children, grandchildren, the great-grand. Let everybody know we all on the same page. It's a difficult situation we need to talk about, but somebody got to say it. And I don't mind saying it.
Generational wealth, right?
Generational wealth right here.
Here's why you need a living trust. When you were born, your parents applied for government numbers like a social security number and your birth certificate number. Just like any product that you own and possess, the government has certain rights over its products as well. So when you pass away, all of your assets under that government number are frozen. And your next of kin are required to receive direction from the government on how they choose to distribute your assets. This process is called probate court. It's expensive, public, and may take years to resolve. But the Supreme Court upholds contract law or common law, which gives you the opportunity to create a trust, which is an entity that the government did not create. This allows you to transfer the ownership of all of your assets into the name of the living trust legally. This transfer removes those assets out of the government product number, allowing you to own nothing but still control everything. If you want to learn more information about how to own nothing but control everything, click the link in the bio. You heard it?
It ain't nothing worse than a smart, dumb person.
Ain't nothing worse than
a smart, dumb person. So just imagine being a PhD. You got all this information, you done put all this work in, and then now you are under the mentorship of somebody who maybe didn't even graduate, but they're making multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like most people, not everybody, would think that just having a lot of information like a degree automatically means that you should be successful. It automatically means that you should get a certain job or access to a certain career, right? Information doesn't necessarily transform into application.
Right.
We get paid for what we do, not what we know. And a lot of us want to get paid for what we know, not what we do. And that's unfortunate. I used to be there.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, man, I remember I had this mentor, and I wouldn't even really call him a mentor, but he had a really successful business, man. He was making like $100,000 a month. And I'm just sitting here like, man, this dude is so basic. He ain't even saying it right. Man, he ain't even really saying how it works. He should have said how I thought he should have said it. But then I realized, Brandon, you saying it a certain way, but you ain't making any money.
So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And as always, stay tuned for the next video. Peace.